Greetings, Bat Warriors. Greetings. Greg is back. So are you. Welcome to the Results Kill Excuses channel. Just doing another impromptu live stream. Usually these come up when I actually don't want to do these things, right? Actually, there's a part of me that doesn't want to do these things. What are the things you don't want to do that sometimes you know that there's just, you know what, there's a greater meaning. There's a greater purpose to the reason why you do the things you do. I can tell you there's a part of me that doesn't love going to the gym, but I make it a priority. I've stayed consistent. I've stayed locked in. There's a part of me that doesn't want to eat healthy, right? Doesn't want to eat those clean, healthy, nutritious meals. But guess what? There's a part of me that when I weigh myself and I look at that scale every morning, there's a part of me that says, we're going to do it again. We're going to keep doing it because there's a reason why. Why? Do you understand the why? Right? There's a powerful exercise as we get going tonight, or whenever you're watching this. Timeless, right? Timeless, these life lessons. I'm here to tell you these are timeless life lessons. But there's a very powerful exercise, and it's called the 7 levels of why. Anybody heard of this? Anybody done this? The 7 levels of why. Not 9 levels, not 4 levels, but 7. We could start here just by telling you real quick something for you to try. So you get yourself a piece of paper and ultimately what you're wanting to discover is your intrinsic motivation. Anybody heard of intrinsic motivation? Probably not. It's probably not something that you've heard. So this is the first time. That means we're already learning, right? We're early in, just a couple minutes into this live stream. We're already trying to teach new things. Intrinsic motivation. So intrinsic motivation is the deepest reason for why you do something or anything. And so if you were to ask yourself, you can ask any question, right? Why do you do the job that you do? And what you have to do is you have to ask yourself, why, to the answer 7 times. So if the reason why you do the job you do is because you love the job, why do you love the job? And then you got to answer that. And whatever answer you have there, you got to say, because if you said, well, because I'm passionate about it. Well, why are you passionate about it? Because I had something that happened to me in my life and this gives me purpose to my life. Well, why does this give you purpose to your life? And so it can seem a little annoying. I think most people, especially adults, we get annoyed, right? Wait, why do I got to write stuff down? Why do I got to sit there and do these things? Why does journaling matter so much? I'm telling you, it matters. It's a very powerful tool. And so we're talking about the 7 levels of why, intrinsic motivation. And see, a lot of people just want to stay on that surface. But see, tonight we're going to talk about how discomfort, right here, discomfort is going to allow you to grow. Embracing the idea of being uncomfortable, right? Most of us, we want to just be left alone, be nice and comfy and cozy in our home, and that's it. But yet, when you're sitting with yourself, when you're rough time sleeping, tossing and turning, when you're frustrated on a Monday morning, or you're exhausted on a Friday afternoon, or anxious on a Sunday evening, or any other time throughout your routine, your life, wherever you're at, right? You can't escape yourself. You try. I know I tried to escape myself. And I found a lot of really, really, really good temporary escapes. But good meant there was also some bad to it, right? There were some negative effects of many of the things that I used to escape myself. And so if you're somebody that finds yourself struggling to try the new things, take action towards something, I can almost guarantee you right here, right now, I can guarantee you that a big reason why you struggle, really kind of getting going, is because you don't know your why. You don't have that intrinsic motivation, which is like the activator, right? Because it's not just surface level, right? If you do something just because, well, it's how I pay the bills, it's like go deeper. I do this all the time with myself, and I do it with clients that I work one-on-one with, and we could do it here with you. Anytime that you sit with yourself, if you're somebody that's thinking about trying to be more self-aware, really trying to expand your emotional literacy, which is different than emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is you being able to read the room, to understand what someone else is feeling and having the empathy for that. Emotional literacy is understanding just the vast array of emotions that exist. And so even when it comes to really developing that fine tuned emotional literacy, I call it your feeling flavors, right? If something shifts and you're more aware, right? Like you went from just, yeah, you're just having a good day, and then something comes on you. Like no one flipped you off, no one insulted you, but just energetically something changed. This is usually how it happens. It's usually not because of something else. It's a thought. There's a million different triggers. There's a million different things that can activate an emotional response within you. And so usually the way that you can start processing your emotions is when you can just pause for a moment, sit with yourself and say, whoa, what's going on? How am I feeling right now? Just having just this basic conversation. How am I feeling right now? What is coming up for me? And if you just start like kind of sitting with yourself, I like to put my hands on like my heart center here, maybe even take a few deep breaths in through the nose. And you kind of just ask yourself, like, what's going on, man? What's going on? Well, I guess I'm feeling nervous right now. Right. And then you say, okay, well, why would I be nervous? Well, got this going on, this going on. You just had that thought, or you just saw this thing and it reminded you of something else. Okay, well, what's underneath the nervousness? See, again, it's always about going deeper. That's why the 7 levels of why is so powerful. And it's the same with your emotions, right? So if nervousness is at the top, I like to go 3 levels deep with the emotions. What's deeper than the nervousness? Well, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Okay. What's underneath the overwhelm? Well, I'm feeling like I've been forgotten, or I'm feeling unlovable. I'm feeling like a failure. A practice that easy, but it's not simple because you really have to sit with yourself. Because what you ultimately want to do is feel all of those feelings. And a lot of people, if you're so busy, you're so like do, moving. I don't have time. I don't have time for any of this stuff. It's like, I promise you, if you don't think you have time to be proactive with your inner healing work, you know who's going to intervene to give you some time? And again, sometimes even then we're so stubborn we won't make the time because we just don't want to do it. We're just resistant, right? We love it. We love our misery. We love our trauma. We love it. We love it so much that it's like we don't want to love it. That's why we run to the things we run to. But you know who's going to intervene, right? God's going to intervene. Something's going to happen that's going to slow you down. Usually that's a crisis. Usually that's some kind of upheaval or some kind of illness. You think these things are random. You think these things are just, happenstance, just a part of life. But it's like when you really start to sit with the experience that you're having, it becomes more and more obvious that it's not just random. It's not just happenstance. It's not just a coincidence that you're getting sick in spring and in summer. I feel like I've seen more and more people in just the past few years like having illnesses in like the summertime. That was only like in the fall and the winter. But now it's like people are sick all the time. I see people are sick all the time. What's going on? And I'm not giving medical advice, but I will tell you, even with myself, like I don't get sick ever. I don't get sick. That doesn't mean I don't have like a little elbow pain and some other medical issues that are just something that I'm having to deal with. But just like the illnesses, I don't deal with that. Why? Because I'm a superhuman. Why? Because I eat superfood. Why? Because I continuously think positive thoughts, healing thoughts. I'm constantly healing myself. Even when I'm dealing with difficult things, I don't say I'm sick. I said I already am in the mode of I'm healing, getting better. And yet the weird thing is that if it appears that most people believe in the fact that you can create negativity in your reality. Most people, it's like, and I used to be like this. I used to always plan for the worst case scenario. I worked this out in it's probably 10 years of therapy. I worked out the whole understanding of that survival, right? The trauma response, the survival mode of saying, always got to be planning for the worst case scenario. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time before things get really bad. Everything's going pretty good right now, but it's just a matter of time. It's that self-fulfilling prophecy. We've all heard it. And most of you, if you're honest with yourself, you've probably experienced it. You've probably sabotaged situations, relationships, because you had such a negative disposition, a negative attitude about yourself. And yet we project that into the world. And we're looking at other people. Right? I think today there was all kinds of protests. Right? People always protesting, right? Resist is like the worst energy. But yet we're projecting. And I'm somebody that absolutely believes with all my heart, with all my mind, with all my soul, and yes, with all my strength, that whatever you see in somebody else, if that activates an emotional response in you, if you spot it, guess what? You got it. Whatever you see in somebody else, it is in you. And I know there's a massive amount of people out there in this world that are would never want to believe that something they despise in another person can somehow be absolutely present within their own character, within their own personality. You just don't see it. You don't wanna see it. But there's a reason why you're obsessed or fixated or emotionally dysregulated by another human being and what they're doing with their life and how they're doing things. You think you're in the right by pointing it out, by calling injustice, by saying this is wrong and I'm right. I wish it was that easy. I wish we were just meant to be judges and pointing our finger and saying they're bad, they're bad. Shame on them. Spot it, you got it. But a big part of what I'm even talking about takes massive, massive accountability and ownership and authenticity. Nobody has come to this planet to judge other people. Nobody is here to judge another person at all. That's not the reason why you exist. And I think that the more judgmental you are, and you know if you're judgmental, you justify it. I know. They're wrong, you're right. I know. But it's all just an energetic exchange for you to not have to do your own inner work. Because if you want peace in this world, it exists. You just got to create peace within. If you are so overwhelmed by what you can perceive, right? It's a perception. If you perceive that this world is just out of control and it's certain people's fault, and you just are so restless, you're so frustrated, you're so angry, that says more about you than anybody else. That is a reflection of what's going on within. All the answers are within. All the peace you want, all the love you want, all the joy, all the happiness, all the harmony, all the tranquility, all the relaxation, all the abundance, all the prosperity, all the success, all the healing, all the peace that you want is within you. But there is no way there is no way that you could possibly be operating from a place of genuine, authentic, universal, unconditional love and then yet be angry, mad, upset, frustrated, and even if you're honest, fearful of what's going on in this world. And I know that's a tough pill to swallow. That's why a lot of people can't take this type of medicine. This message is medicinal because it's meant to activate you. It's meant to awaken you. I'm here to awaken people to the truth. The truth is within. And all I'm doing is getting my phone right here. And I'm just shining the light on all those little dark spots inside of you. But what it ultimately takes, well, it takes a lot, doesn't it? It takes a lot. I mean, for someone to really cross that threshold, I mean, the awakening that I went through required me, and I believe it'll require you without any kind of compromise. Like, there's no like, well, let me hold on to half of what I believe. No, the spiritual awakening, the journey that I have been on, required me to let go of everything. And I'm not just talking about possessions, physical, material things. I am talking about letting go of limiting beliefs, deep held beliefs, philosophies, ideology, to let go of everything, to just surrender that fight, that battle, because none of those things that are a part of your experience thus far as a human on planet Earth, none of those things are eternal. These are just distortions of this temporary experience that you are having as an eternal soul having a human experience. See, if you cannot even comprehend that, if that don't even make sense, then just carry on. Depart in peace. Keep doing your protests and living however it is that you feel comfortable. Because that's what you want. You want comfort. You wish things were the way they used to be. And it's not. Never will be. It's time for us to go to new places, to have a new reality. Think about it. Is there anything out there right now that's not in total just chaos and turmoil? And yet the reason why I know the journey I've been on has actually worked is because I used to be so confrontational, so invested emotionally in the politics and the social issues. So much I've ran for public office. I used to be a big fanatic too. I had so much investment in what other men were doing with their lives and pretending as if somehow it was my life too. Somehow I felt fulfilled when someone else succeeded because I had an emotional attachment saying, yay, as a fan, you know, I'm the same as being on the team. My team, right? I'm taking ownership of something I really have nothing to do with. Like, do you know how uncomfortable I had to get to let go of that part of me? Those parts of me? I'm somebody that served in the United States military. Like, I'm a very passionate, there's a part of me, old and deceased, that used to just be so patriotic and so passionate and confrontational and just, do you know how difficult that was for me to cross that bridge along this spiritual awakening path? Nothing I'm saying was easy. But when I look back, it all makes sense. It was like, yeah, that's temporary, right? I mean, just even this body, what do you identify with? You identify with a political party? That's your existence? That's what you stand for? That's it? That's the ultimate reason for your existence on planet Earth? Is because of your political party affiliation? That's why you're here? Oh wait, no, it's because through the course of sexual intimacy, You reproduced, and now because of the result of reproduction, you identify as if the role that you take on because of that is the reason why you exist. Y'all tracking that one? You think the reason why you exist is because you're so and so's mom or dad or grandma or grandpa or brother or you think that's the reason? That's the whole reason. Man, this is the whole reason why I got put on this planet. This is my existence. This is why I exist. I got put on this planet to love this person. That's why I exist. That's my identity. I got put on this planet to be the super fanatic, do or die, doesn't matter, thick and thin, win or lose, it doesn't matter. I'm on this planet because I'm going to be the best fan that I could be. That's why I exist. That's why I'm here. That's your identity? Politics, relationships, sports and entertainment, that's why you're here. That's your identity. Is it your work? Your job? That's the reason why you're here? I know some people that are hardcore about that. They really take that to the next level. It inflates that ego. You got a title. Yeah, this is why I'm here. This is why I'm here. It's all temporary. That's all part of the false identity. Why are you truly here? That's one of the questions that I had to ask myself in 2019, coming off of the expiration of a 21-year relationship called a marriage that had expired. Because guess what? My whole identity, my whole entire identity was all wrapped up in I'm so-and-so's husband and I am a father of these two right here. That's my identity. I'm a family man. This is my identity. This is why I exist. You know how hard it was? You know how uncomfortable it was to let that go? I said it earlier. If you're not willing to do the work, guess what? Guess who's going to step in? Guess who steps in? Right? God. God will step in. Some of us, we're so stubborn that even when God steps in, to kind of rattle our cage, to kind of lift the veil so that we can see beyond the suffering, the misery, the emotions of this planet, maybe have just a little glimmer of eternity. We can't even be quiet and still enough to sit in that, to really understand why am I here? And that's the question I asked myself in 2019. And maybe that's the question you need to ask yourself. Who am I? And as I started this, I talked about the 7 levels of why to get to your intrinsic motivation. Why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you go to work? Why do you care so much about the politics? Any question that you ask yourself related to the why. This is an incredible process. It's super deep thinking, and it's really where most people need to go in times like this. Go within, get to the depths of your soul. So the reason why it's 7 levels, you don't go down to 10 levels, you don't stop at 4. But what you do is you ask yourself any question, why? Why do I love this person? Why am I so sad? And then what you do is the answer to the first question, you continue asking yourself, why? Sounds super redundant. But yet the thing is we are so shallow That it's not until you actually sit with yourself and get deep, 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 deep down inside of you, 7 levels, that you actually get to some really cosmic spiritual type understanding to like, why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you so passionate about that team? Well, I grew up with nothing but fans, or that was the first team I ever saw play live. Okay, well, why do you care about them? Well, because they've won all these championships. Why does that matter to you? Well, because, and you just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. And what you realize is that when you get to like 7, if it's not something that's truly about you, it kind of puts a sour taste in your mouth. You kind of realize that it's like the light, right? The veil lifts and the light shines in your eyes, right? The light shines in your eyes and you're like, oh, wait, shit. What am I seeing? But see, when you talk about like, why would you want to be healthy? Why would you want to heal your trauma? Why would you want to understand your existence on this planet? Why would you want to have a relationship with God? Why would you want to heal the relationships in your life? See, those are all things that you could actually have power over, not control, power. You have a choice. And when you get to 7 levels, you really that starts to activate again what's called intrinsic motivation, where you now start to realize what is the meaning and the purpose of your existence, so that you don't just wake up in the morning, smash the snooze, and act like, oh shit, gotta do this again. No, you now jump out of bed. You're now filled with motivation that is so deep inside of you that it's like you become obsessed. You can't stop. And why would you want to? Because you're so curious and activated, and you have this sense of urgency to really figure yourself out. But yet, what is that going to cause? It's going to take a lot of becoming comfortable with being discomfortable, uncomfortable. That's where the growth happens. If you're somebody that you never really want to get to that edge, I've been talking about that recently, getting to that place of wanting to give up or totally just being a chicken, being a coward, getting all scared and saying, no, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. Again, there's another question. Why? Why are you scared? Why are you scared of doing something, jumping off of heights or riding a roller coaster or swimming in the ocean or, going into a forest at night? Why? Can you sit and even challenge your limits? Why are you so passionate about the politics? Why do you hate certain people? And let's be honest, if you have the capacity to hate another person, spot it, you got it. That means you hate yourself. Like, you actually hate yourself. You're just projecting, you're scanning, right? That's what we do. We scan. There's something that we don't want to deal with within ourselves. So we scan and we look for, it's like subconsciously, we are attracted to like energy. And so we look for someone else. They actually mirror back the energy that we're holding, which is self-hatred. For whatever reason, you have to figure that out with yourself. And then we make them the enemy. So it's their fault. I feel this way because of them. If they were gone, I would feel different. That never works. That's you drinking poison, wishing someone else dies. How does that work? You're drinking poison, wanting someone else to be gone. But that's what we see. That's what's out there. That's the popular thing. To resist, resist. It's like resist, man. Are you freaking kidding me? Resistance is literally it's one of the most powerful forces. And the reason why it's powerful is because anytime it's unbiased. Resistance is an unbiased energy. It has no opinion about you and it has no opinion about me, but it shows up every time. It's like clockwork. Anytime you try something new, boom, you get hit with resistance. You get hit with it. Now, the thing about resistance is it's a master manipulator. And so resistance will often show up as a reason, right? You try something new, it challenges you, and the next thing, something shows up, and it's like the perfect thing you've been waiting for that gives you a reason and gives you an out from doing what? Growing. Right. Because why? For you to continue down the path you started on, you have to continue showing up for yourself and allowing yourself to get comfortable being uncomfortable, which is truly embracing discomfort, because that is where you grow. But as soon as you try something new, unbiased, here comes the resistance. It comes in all kinds of forms. The person that you've had a crush on finally reaches out, or, something shows up. Good evening, brother. Something shows up and it says, "Hey, look, check this out. Don't worry about that new stuff you're trying. Why do you want to do that? Don't do that. You don't even know why you want to do that. You tried it. It challenged you. Come on, let's go kick back. Let's go do this other thing. It's way easy. It's easy. You don't want the challenge, right? Who wants to be challenged? I don't think anybody is born just, I'm up for the challenge. But the funny thing is every soul on this planet, you knew the earth was going to be a challenge, and yet you chose to come here. But when you're here, all the things you signed up for happen, and guess what? You start to take those hits, you start to shut down, you start to get scared and overwhelmed and exhausted. And next thing you know, you're like, you've totally forgot the whole point of this experience, life on earth. You totally forgot. And now there you are, all sad, all overwhelmed, emotionally dysregulated, pointing the finger and blaming everybody else, thinking that you're here to judge people, thinking that if you were God and you could just eliminate things that you don't like, that somehow that would change what's really going on underneath the surface. That's not how it works. For some reason, a picture is coming through of like, it's like if you've ever seen like a really rough abandoned house. It's rough. I mean, it's missing the roof, it's missing walls, all the windows are busted out, right? I'm getting this vision because I see a lot of those here in northern New Mexico. And it's like you showing up saying, you know what? Let's just put a fresh coat of paint on and everything will be just fine. Turnkey. It's ready to move in. And it's like, nah, man, the fucking roof is gone. There's no plumbing. There's no electrical. All the sheetrock's knocked out. All the windows are knocked out. There ain't even a front door on the place. Right? There's weeds coming out underneath the floors. You think putting a fresh coat of paint on the outside is going to make that thing nice? No. It needs a total redo, inside out restoration. Some real love and care, right? That real TLC. Now try and think about that with yourself. How many of you are walking around in denial of where the real problems in your life are? The real problems with your life are within you, usually just even in your mind. Most of the problems you create for yourself. And that's a whole part of the inner work, the inner healing work, right? We don't like, no one gets taught this, very few people. So here we are now as adults, finally, those of you that are actually tapped in and tuned in and open and willing to get uncomfortable with yourself, to sit in the fires and not get burned. The fires within. And there's nothing easy about it. It's challenging. But guess what? That's where you grow. That's where you heal. That's where you actually have total power over. You don't have power over anything going on outside. Screaming and yelling and holding up signs and all that shit, that don't do nothing. It does not do anything. I'm sorry. It never has, it never will. Be realistic. Think back. Go in the time machine, right? We could pull up right now, right? My mom was a hippie, right? That was like the 60s and the 70s. Make love, not war, right? Where did all them hippies back then, where'd they go? Right? Be honest with yourself. See, the thing is you're so emotionally dysregulated and so disassociated with what's really going on inside of you that you know, it's like this is the awakening. This is why everything's so freaking chaotic. Is because it's meant to knock you off of your routine. But where did all those hippies make love, not war? Where did they go? I mean, they were so passionate. It almost felt like a whole generation. Make love, not war. Right? Where did they go? Well, they grew up and they sold out. Because if you're honest with yourself, all those people are the boomers. Most of them have gotten old, but a lot of them have served in politics for decades upon decades upon decades upon decades. And what has gotten better? Has anything gotten better? Oh, it's not their fault. But no, they have had opportunities where if they really wanted to make the changes to make this a better place, they would have. And they could have, but they didn't. And so I'm somebody that just, again, I've totally disconnected emotionally, mentally, spiritually from putting any of my energy into what's going on. And that's the most peaceful thing that I have ever done for myself. It's the greatest gift I ever gave myself, was to be able to say, I'm no longer going to attach my emotions to anything going on outside of myself. Anything. And that doesn't mean that I'm living life with my eyes closed. No, my eyes are wide open. I'm seeing everything, but I have taken my power back. This is a process of refragmentation. Every time throughout the course of your life, you have given little pieces of you to other people in hopes of feeling loved, feeling accepted, feeling like you belong. You've given little energetic pieces of yourself to all these things. And we're at a point where it's time to bring all that energy back to yourself. This is how you feel whole and complete. If you're somebody that's never felt whole and complete, you always feel like something's been missing, right? It's because you've given yourself away to everything and it does not give anything back to you. Except for what? More suffering, more misery, more angst, more frustration. And we have to stop. I feel like that's a complete sentence. We have to stop. We have to stop giving ourselves away. When will you stop? When? When will you have the clarity and the confidence and the courage to stop giving yourself away to things that will never, I promise you, politics will never give you your peace. Politics will never make this a peaceful, harmonious world. I promise you that. If it was ever meant to, I think it would have happened with the love, make love, not war. That whole generation, and yet that's not the case. They've run this country and all the other countries. So why are you putting your hope in something that has proven to be inauthentic, corrupt, not in your best interest? It's never made things better. It's never made things better, only made things worse. And that's okay. I don't have no anger, hatred towards that either. See, I wouldn't be where I'm at today saying what I'm saying right now, which I believe is the purest form of truth, because all I'm actually saying is to please disconnect, do yourself a great favor, and disconnect from all these things. Digital detox, shut all that information down, quit giving yourself away, and can you try and make peace with yourself? Can you make peace with yourself? And you know what? The sad thing is most of you are like, you can't do it. You can't do it. It's too hard. It's too hard to make peace with yourself. Because see, here's the thing. If you're not at peace with everything and anything, you're not at peace with yourself. That's extreme, ain't it? But it's true. Because I can watch all of these things and I have no judgments. I don't look at, well, this person's right, these people are wrong, this is that, I'm not a referee, I'm not here to judge. I see everyone playing a part. I see nothing but souls having a human experience, and everyone's doing what they signed up to do. And the power that you have is all the things that are dysregulating you, all the things that overstimulate you in positive and negative ways. If you need something, right? This could be chemicals, this could be information, this could be entertainment, it could be sports, right? Anything that overstimulates you from the outside coming in, right? You're forming a habit, which is ultimately an addiction to that thing, because you still have yet to figure out how to emotionally regulate yourself free from the external influence. So even if you need the thing to really feel good, I need to feel good. I need this thing. It makes me feel so great. Without it, what can I do? And clearly the equal and opposites exist, so that when you see the thing that stimulates you in the negative and gets you upset, gets you angry, all the low vibrational states of being, right? When you create this habit that when you feel that way, when you feel the lows, right? It's only human nature that you don't want to stay there. You want to get the hell out of that. But unfortunately, the current reality that we live in, we want immediate relief. And the truth is, naturally, you can give yourself immediate relief. Unfortunately, you have been programmed to believe that that doesn't exist. That's not even an option, that you need this other thing. That this other thing, it may not be good for you, but it sure will give you relief from how you feel. And that's where it's like you start to see the whole picture and you're like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I see how this works. I see how the information is supposed to get me down, and then the entertainment is supposed to get me up, right? And that somehow I'm never really just supposed to sit with myself and be with myself in the peace and the quiet and the stillness of the cosmic eternal right here, right now." I mean, there's got to be a plan behind that, right? Because everywhere I look, I see people that are two things. I see people that are suffering, varying degrees, but most of the suffering is mental, is psychological. It's not physical. Most people are not like physically in a terrible place. And I say that coming from, first world experience and even the worst here. I mean, it's pretty bad. I know I go to some pretty rough areas. But when you go to a place that's like full on third world country, famine, right? Not even running fresh water. I mean, not even electricity in a lot of these places. I mean, your mind, like we are so naive with our first world problems to even try and wrap our head around like, man, how good we actually have it. You could reframe any of your situations. And again, another area that you would get growth from, but you would have to be get uncomfortable is to go volunteer. To go volunteer at a nonprofit, go to a soup kitchen, go to a food pantry, go to a homeless shelter, right? I used to even take my kids to go do like community cleanups. And I remember the first time we went to the roughest neighborhood, and my son was probably only like, I don't know, he wasn't that old. He was probably under 5. And he found a dirty heroin needle. Dad, look what I got. It was like a trophy whirl. I was like, whoa, dude. Oh shit, hold on. And I grabbed the bottle. We put it in there and we probably ended up finding 20 of those that day. And it's just right. It's suffering. I helped I have some friends that own a gas station and pulled up there the other day. There's dirty heroin needles right there in the parking lot. I was like, oh man, I went and told the owner and helped him clean him up. He's an old guy. But it's all suffering, right? No one goes to their first party and says, I'm gonna be an addict. I know I didn't, right? I thought it was the best thing ever. I thought going to the parties was the best thing ever. Music and a bunch of underage drinking and drug use and just, living wild and free. I'm like, this is the best, man. Hell yeah. This is man. I mean, when you just looked at normal life, like either home life, especially back then, right? You're talking the 80s and early 90s. It's like, man, home life. We didn't have social media, man. We didn't have none of that shit. So to like be at a party, social, music, it was like, that was the best. Right. But I'm in my late 40s, 47 now. And it's like, I remember probably by the time I was 30, friends of mine started peeling off. And it wasn't because it was like usually alcohol or drug related. And it's like I know a whole entire crews that have gone out. Especially now, it's like it was like it just started to like trickle, drip, 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 drip every year, another, now 4, now 5, now 10, now man, just so many people. But no one went to that first party and said, "Man, I'm going to be an addict." right? We all think it's all for fun. It's all for shits and giggles. I feel very fortunate. That's why I take this so serious. That's why I really, 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 really show up, even on a night like tonight. I told myself I was going to get on here, but usually when I get on here, it's because I don't want to get on here. There's something about it. I like living a private life. I don't do this for the likes, for the views, to be viral, to be well known. I don't do it for any of that shit. I do this out of the genuineness, most authentic part of my soul that says, fuck, I am so lucky to be here right now. I should be unalived or doing a life sentence in some kind of a box, some type of a concrete box because of some of the dumb, stupid things that I have done in my life. But God spared me. He said, no, you're not going to go down. You're not going to go down. You have a purpose. There's something greater than just fill in the blank. Whatever you can think of is the most important thing in your life, the thing you're most passionate about doing. If you think that's why you exist, I am telling you to challenge yourself. Why is that thing so important to you? 7 levels. Go 7 levels deep. And again, how do you do that? Whatever you think is the reason why you're here. Why do you exist? And if whatever you fill in, ask yourself why. To the answer that you give, just keep asking. Like, it's like being a little kind of, I don't know, a little honorary, like 7-year-old or 5-year-old, you know, why is it like that? Why do you do? Why do you do? You have to keep asking yourself, why? Because it's like, it's shedding all of this false, right, facade. It's all a facade until you really get deep. 7 levels. That's when you know you're on the right place. And when you get kind of perplexed and stumped, what that is most likely an indicator is that you're misaligned. You're not in alignment with the truest purpose as to why you exist on this planet. And if you want my answer to why I think we exist on this planet as a time such as now is to usher in a new earth, a new age, which is totally different than what we've been experiencing. It has to be different. It has to be different. We've had politicians all over the world tell us they're going to make things better, and it's only gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So anybody that's ever told you, "Oh, I'll fix the problems," if it just keeps getting worse and you become more objective, neutral, to where you're not so passionate and delusional, believing that somebody's your savior, a color or a party is your savior, and you just become more neutral, right? That's really where I stepped. I went from being leaning one way to saying, I'm going to go independent. I'm going to be independent because I started seeing, right? Here in New Mexico, right? There's a Native American wisdom, right? There's wisdom from Native Americans, right? Anytime a Native American, if they hear you complaining about about one party or one political affiliation over the other, or making it sound like, your political affiliation is somehow superior to somebody else's, right? A wise medicine man will look at you and say, do you not realize that the right wing and the left wing are a part of the same bird. You have been fooled. And I'm here to hopefully, right, enlighten you that there's a greater reason. Shining the light again, shining the light. It's a greater reason. Why are you here? Why do you exist? Why do you think you exist? What is it really about? And if you want me to give you my opinion, what do I really think it's about? It's for us to usher in a new age. Well, most people, you don't even think, I mean, you've been so frustrated with society, political systems, just everything that's currently in play right now. That a lot of people, it's like it's kind of beating you into submission, right? To where you're just fed up and you just give up. So me, like when I went through my evolution, when I got into that discomfort of releasing all of these beliefs, all of these thoughts, I didn't just give up. I woke up. There's a difference. See, when you give up, it's like you're defeated. Me, I said, this ain't right. There's something in here that's not right. I woke up and I started looking. I started looking at both sides, neutral, saying, you know what? Let me take back my power. Let me take that power back. Let me pull back those parts of me that I've invested in that. No more. No more. Bring all that energy back. Bring the energy back. Refragment. And then I start looking and I'm like, oh yeah, this whole thing is corrupt. And I'm not going to participate, right? To fool myself, to deceive myself into thinking that somehow there's power in choice. The illusion of choice, right? It's an illusion. There's no choice. Not in that, not in those systems. Where there is choices, whether or not you are going to give yourself some time and space to really sit with what's going on inside of you. That's the environment you can improve drastically. Every day, every morning, every weekend that you spend more time sitting with your energy, figuring yourself out, doing some therapy, exercising, time in nature, and really figuring out like what makes you feel alive? What gives you peace? What gives you peace? What gives you the feeling of peace? What gives you a feeling of calm? Then you start to reprioritize your life. You realize that you have power, but your power isn't in screaming and yelling. Your power isn't in hating someone else. Your power is in healing the pain, the wounds, the sadness, the sorrow within you by processing, sitting with that, sitting in that discomfort so that you can heal and grow. And when you do that, you're setting yourself free. You're changing the frequency of this planet. And the more and the more and the more and the more and the more, millions upon millions upon millions upon millions, and billions of people that do this, this is how the world changes. This is how we shift and we take the power back. It's not through force. It's not through anger. It's not through hatred. It's through self-empowerment, through healing. And that's kind of scary, right? Because you have to have a lot of the F word. What's the F word? Faith. You have to have faith. Faith in something greater than yourself, and definitely something greater than all these global human constructed institutions. of Law and Order. You have to have a faith greater, man. There's something so much greater than all this. All of it. All of it. The thing that gives me faith is this idea, this thought. And I'll leave it here because I'm going to wake up early tomorrow. I'm going to go hike up a big ass mountain. But I'll leave you with this thought. I believe that this planet was gifted to humanity, right? It was gifted. We didn't make it ourselves. We didn't buy it. It was gifted. It was a gift. Here's something so beautiful, so plentiful, so resourceful. And somewhere along the way, look at what it's become. Look at all the suffering. Look at all the sadness. Look at all the sorrow. Look at all the grief and the anger and the division and the hatred. It's like this was a gift. And of course, we think, well, it's their fault and not ours. But it's like, no, it's a collective. Collectively, we have screwed this up. That means collectively, again, just like any problem in your life, if you take ownership of the problems in your life, guess what? You have empowered yourself to then have the solutions to your problems. But if you're blaming someone else for the problems, you're disempowered. That means you need something or someone else, something to change that you don't have control over. You may want to control it. Again, resistance and control, both very, very, very disempowering energies. When you try and control something, it's all based in fear. When you resist something, it's based in fear, not love. When you genuinely love something, you don't need to control it. You don't need to hate it. You can let it be whatever it wants to be. And that's really tough. Because you got to get uncomfortable and say, I need to let go of a lot of things I believe. That's probably the scariest thing. As I go about talking with people, it's probably the scariest thing is for somebody to think that everything they believe is not true. And that's different than saying that it's right or wrong. It's not about whether what you believe is right or wrong. It's just, it's not your truth to your existence. Your existence, again, something I believe, is that you're an eternal soul, pure life force energy, inserted into this human body of yours, and you're having a human experience. And that is a very temporary, short experience. And I believe we have done it many times. So if you get so lost in this experience that you just kind of forget this, maybe now is the time that something starts to shift inside of you to reawaken your truth. Go within, sit with yourself, do the healing work. Again, this entire planet was a gift. We collectively, all of us, yes, you, me, everyone else, we have made it a mess, and it's our mess to clean. But we clean it by cleaning what's going on within. I mentioned the house that's dilapidated and abandoned, right? You don't clean it by putting on a fresh coat of paint on the outside. You clean it by like going through a process, getting an architect, getting a general contractor, maybe even tearing down some more walls. Maybe like you have to go in, and I've done this full renovation. I've overseen entire renovation projects of commercial Route 66 motels. The renovation goes from the inside out. We had to tear everything out, redo the plumbing, redo the electrical, modernize everything. before we then started putting on fresh coats of paint on the inside and making it look nice and new fixtures and new this and new that, new air conditioning, like everything inside out. But it was a very, very, very methodical process. And it is the perfect analogy of just my own experience. This whole transformational experience has been from the inside out. So I see 111. But so many of us, we just want the quick fix. We want something on the outside, right? Give me something that I can believe in, and hopefully that changes my life. And it's like, no, that's not how things change. Inside out. Deep inside. Deep. Deep, 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 deep. 7 levels deep. Inside. The depths of your soul. The deepest, darkest part of who you are. That is where the truth lies. But you have to do a lot of digging to figure out everything that's been going on. To sit with yourself. To be at peace. You want peace in this world? Find peace within. This planet was a gift. We've made it a mess. Your job is to clean your mess, right? Clean the internal mess, clean your physical mess that you have power over. You do that, you are doing your part. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much for doing your part. Because here's the other truth. When it comes to this existence, there's enough resources to take care of everyone. More than enough. More than enough resources on this beautiful planet that was gifted to us that everyone can be taken care of. We just have to have the right mindset. And that's why I believe everything that's happening right now, it's all unraveling. It's all just starting to self-implode. It's the most incredible time to be alive. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to be here. Do your part. Do your part. Your part isn't going out there in the streets and yelling. Your part is, can you sit still? Can you ask for help? Can you figure out what happened to you that has caused you to feel the way you feel? Because that is what you can undo. You can heal that if you do it with intention. And you sit with yourself, make peace with yourself, fall in love with yourself. And I know that sounds silly, but that's what it takes. Self-love, true self-love, to truly care for yourself and to have the results in the physical to show. I know I got it. Will you be next? I hope so. I'm here for you. I'm cheering for you. I'm rooting for every single one of you. I love you guys so much. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you on the next one. You know the drill. Results kill excuses, because if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth it. Greg's out.